Rudy Giuliani is the former mayor of New York City. He's known as America's mayor, and he's been personal attorney to President Donald Trump. Yet, with another impeachment trial on the horizon for the now former president, there's a lot of questions to be asked about how that's going to proceed. With us now to give us some clarity on that and what we can expect from President Trump moving forward is our friend Rudy Giuliani. Welcome back, Mayor. Let's get right into it. Are you going to be part of the legal team?
Well, thank you for having me. I won't be in court, but I'll be part of the legal team giving advice, unless they are not willing to call me as a witness, and it shapes up that way. If it shapes up so I don't have to be a witness and we go into a real trial, then I hopefully will be a big part of that.
You know, many constitutional scholars, we had Alan Dershowitz on last week, and I've heard Jonathan Turley also say, two highly esteemed constitutionalists, that there's no basis for an impeachment trial. Do you agree with that assessment?
Well, I'm not quite the constitutional lawyer as they are, but I got an A in constitutional law. That helps.
That counts.
And I argued in the Supreme Court once. It's outrageous, Mike. It's not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, the last one was outrageous. The last one was something that scholars have debated for years. Can you impeach if there's no crime?
Yeah.
And they decided that they could, which I think is very dangerous and very bad, because there was no crime. Now they're impeaching him for, I don't know what. And he's removed from office. Yeah. Impeachment exists for the purpose of removal. This would be like you have a trial for murder and the person commits suicide 2 days into the trial, and then you continue the murder trial.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's a useless legal proceeding. And I know there are a couple of left-wing suck-ups that say, well, they can take away his ability to run for office. But that's not the purpose of the proceeding. That's a collateral consequence of it. The purpose of the proceeding is to remove someone for office. If you're removed from office, you cannot be removed from office.
Could the attorneys for the president simply say, it's unconstitutional, we file directly with the Supreme Court to have the whole process thrown out? Is that a maneuver that is even possible?
There are several different choices that you have at that stage. One, you could move to dismiss in front of Judge Roberts. He's the presiding judge, like you normally do at a trial.
Yeah.
At the beginning of any trial, civil or criminal, you always make a motion to dismiss, and basically it says the person hasn't charged anything. Because before you can try me, you have to have charged me with something. So that would be the first motion. You didn't charge me with anything. You charged me with something that leads to removal. See, I'm removed. Goodbye. Or they could decide they want to go to the Supreme Court. They could take that right to the Supreme Court. Or if Justice Roberts disagrees, they could take it to the Supreme Court. Now, if Justice Roberts agrees and throws it out, chance the Democrats will take it to the Supreme Court. And then we'll get an answer on, can you impeach a president who's removed? Or in essence, can you remove a president once he's been removed?
I've read that speech that the president made on January the 6th. I've read it twice. I've watched his speech 3 times. If there is an incitement to riot, I guess I'm not smart enough to see it. But even people like Mitch McConnell have said that the president incited people to a riot. That just seems so far-fetched. He told them to peacefully go to the Capitol. And there have been so many instances in recent history where politicians have said, go to the Capitol. I mean, Cory Booker has said it. Kamala Harris has said it. All kinds of people have said, go to the Capitol and get up in the faces of your representatives. But the president certainly didn't say, go vandalize the Capitol, fight with the police. Nothing even comparable to that. So the basis of the whole idea of impeachment, even if he were still president, seems to be ridiculous.
Right. You're absolutely right. Incitement is a very specific and very well-defined crime. I believe the case is Brandenburg. And the Supreme Court made it very difficult to convict for incitement because it gets so close to free speech. You know, where's the end? When we get into politics and we get into major political issues, people get emotional. They speak sometimes in angry language. The question is, did that angry language lead to incitement? So now look at the crowd. I've watched it also 4 or 5 times. Plus, I was there. I gave a speech, and I was there live. The crowd was too cold to get excited. I'm telling you. All they wanted to do, I hate to tell the president this, but when he got into the second half hour of the speech, all his big supporters that were sitting with me were saying, can we get up? And I was telling him, no, it'll look embarrassing if you get up. Not because the speech wasn't good.
Yeah.
The poor people were freezing to death. So I said some words that they want to use and misinterpret about having a trial by combat. I was talking about two machines having a trial by combat to prove that the Dominion machine. Well, I have to tell you, I'm not sure the audience even understood it, much less got incited by it. And the applause was something like this. Incitement is when the people jump up, they run out of the speech, and they go burn the house down. That's basically what incitement is. That your language was so powerful, that your language was so clear, that they just got the message and they ran right from there and boom. Now, they didn't even prove that a person from the speech went to the Congress. Remember the congressman who got up and said, can you name one person that went from the speech to Congress? Because you charged that in the impeachment.
Yeah. Silence
for a minute. There may have been some, but by the time they got there, everything had been done, which had been organized. It was organized 4 days before the speech by groups like Antifa and GoFar and two others that I'm not as familiar with. But I have the text inviting people there to cause trouble. Two different events entirely.
Well, Mayor, it is always great to hear from you. And I appreciate your perspective because you were there. You know, and I hope that there will be wiser heads that will prevail in all of this. But it is important to hear from you. And I hope our audience will follow the mayor on social media at Rudy Giuliani. Also, take a listen to his show, Rudy's Common Sense. It's on YouTube and Rumble. You can also go to his website, rudygiulianics.com. And if you happen to be one of those deplorables in New York and haven't left yet, listen to his radio show every afternoon on Talk Radio, 77 WABC in New York, or you can stream it online.